YouTube, how are you now? So Warzone just released again with Black Ops 6 new guns. So I've updated this time to kill chart so you can see the weapon stats in Warzone because they do differ from multiplayer and then your time to kill as well. So I have updated the standard multiplayer with the latest Season 1 patch and the patch before that with the buffs and nerfs. So if you want to look at that real quick, you can. Um, all the changes there in gray and red for buffs and nerfs. But we're going to be focusing on Warzone for this video. So these are all your weapons, all the stats gathered from in the game and then also from True Game Data. So big shout out to him for gathering all the stats in Warzone for all the guns, doing all the testing, that kind of stuff. So I'll leave a link to his website, truegamedata.com. If you want to check it out, it has all the stats, all the attachments, all that kind of stuff. So definitely big shout out there. So you got your weapons here. Divided by class, so assault rifles, SMGs, that kind of stuff. Your aim down sight time, your sprint to fire time, your reload speed, your bullet velocity, your rate of fire, your damage per second for each multiplier here. So head, upper, lower. Warzone, they have more body modifiers, and they do have arms and legs as well. But to keep it simple, I just focus on these three damage zones, and then your damages for each range from 5 meters all the way out to 100 meters. So every gun here, including the new Kriegsee assault rifle for Season 1. 638 rounds per minute, so average fire rate, but it's decent. And then your SMGs, including the new SAUG, 909 rounds per minute, pretty fast firing gun. All your LMGs, all that good stuff here. And then we're going to look at the time to kill. So if you're new to this, basically this is your time to kill in milliseconds, your theoretical time to kill if you're hitting every shot at the fastest fire rate possible. Obviously, if you're missing shots due to recoil, moving targets, that kind of stuff, you're not going to be getting these numbers here, but this is just your theoretical fastest time to kill possible. So the fastest time to kill is going to be in red. The second fastest time to kill within 50 milliseconds of the fastest is going to be in orange. Within 100 milliseconds of the fastest is going to be in yellow. Within 150 is light green. Within 200 dark green, so on and so forth. So ideally you want red, orange, possibly yellow. Beyond that, it's going to be a little bit less competitive at the ranges and the body damage and that kind of stuff. So we're just divided by each class. So assault rifles compared with assault rifles, SMGs compared with SMGs, because they vary quite differently. So makes sense just to compare within the class. There's a lot of guns too, so trying to compare them all together would be a nightmare. So just looking at the assault rifles, the Goblin MK2 is the best if you're hitting headshots or upper torso out to a pretty far range. Still really good if you're hitting lower torso as well, but beyond mid-range, so 50 meters plus, it's terrible. But within 50 meters, it's probably going to be the best gun, even though it's a semi-auto and shoots the slowest. So you have to be accurate. Obviously, you're going to be less forgiving if you're missing shots. But if you're able to hit all your shots at the fastest fire rate possible, it's definitely the best up close out to 45 meters. The other guns are pretty much around the same. So you got AK-74 is good. AS-Val is good. XM4, Kriegsee, those are all good. So even though they're light green, they're not too far away from these guns. So 736, 737, 750, 752, they're not that big of a difference between those guns. So even though they fall out of the 100 to 150 range, they're still pretty close in time to kill. So any of those guns would be pretty good. XM4 looks pretty good all around at any range, including long range. Whereas the other guns kind of fall off a little bit here and there. But AS-Val is good as long as you're hitting upper torso. Still good if you're hitting lower torso too, but not as good. Kriegsee is decent all around. Not the best, but decent. Then you got your SMGs here. The new SAUG or SAUG, the best up close if you're hitting upper torso out to 20 meters. But beyond that, kind of falls off a bit. But then it's pretty good at long range too, as long as you're hitting the upper torso. If you're hitting the lower torso, though, it's one of the worst at longer ranges. And then you got your Jackal PDW, looks pretty good. And then the rest are kind of around average. But C9 is the fastest if you're hitting the lower torso. So if you're not hitting your upper torso, it's going to be your fastest time to kill if you're hitting lower torso. But ideally, you want to be hitting upper torso as much as possible. So it's not the best if you're hitting all upper torso. But it's not terrible. Still within 100 milliseconds of the fastest time to kill, but not one of the better ones either. I'd say probably the Jackals. One of the better ones all around, but SAUG's really good too, out to 10 meters. But lower torso, if you're hitting beyond 10 meters, is terrible. Long range, KSV's going to be the best, and then the C9 is going to be the best, but you're probably not going to be going SMG for long range. Then you got your LMGs here, so up close, your GM or GPM G7 is going to be your best bet there. It's not that much better than the PU 21. PU 21 is slightly better if you're hitting upper torso, but slightly worse if you're hitting lower torso, but it does have a slower fire rate. So GPMG is probably the best up close, but it's the worst at long range. Whereas PU21 is a little bit more balanced at all those ranges, and then your XMG is going to be your worst up close. Although not terrible, still within 100 milliseconds the fastest time to kill, so it's only actually 54 milliseconds slower if you're hitting upper torso, and then one of the fastest if you're hitting lower torso. But then at long range it's the best. So depends what you're going to be using it for. Probably going to be using it long range mostly, so XMG is probably going to be your best bet. But up close, you'll be fine with either the GPMG or the PU. But PU is probably the most balanced if you're going for balance between up close and long range, although XMG is still really good up close too. Just not as good if you're hitting upper torso if you're accurate. Then you got your marksman rifles. So I didn't do time to kill on the burst rifles because the rate of fire in-game stats are incorrect. So I just left it with the bullets to kill. So basically 2 burst out to 35 meters for the SWAT 5.56, 3 burst, 3 burst, 3 burst, and then 4 burst. This is going to be 3 burst out to 40 meters for the AK 973, 3 burst, and then 4 burst. So 4 burst only if you're hitting lower torso 45 meters plus. Otherwise, always 3 burst. But yeah, DM10 is going to be their faster time to kill just because it has a faster fire rate. So 300 rounds per minute versus 200 rounds per minute makes a difference. Then you got your sniper rifles here. So LR762 has the longest headshot, one-shot headshot potential out to 70 meters. LW3A1 is out to 60 meters. And then beyond that, it's going to be 2-shot headshot, unless you're using like a headshot damage multiplier increaser. And then it's going to be 2 shots everywhere else to the body. So because they have such slow fire rate, if you're hitting 2 shots, it takes forever to make kills there. And then your SVD doesn't have the one-shot potential, but it does have a faster fire rate, so 120 rounds per minute. But you're still going to be getting beat out on time to kill if you're hitting body shots. So even headshots too, unless it's super long range. So you're only going to be beating these guns at very long range with headshots. So not the best there, but it is more forgiving. So if you're missing shots, SVD is probably the way to go, but you don't have that one-shot potential, and you don't really have a fast time to kill either way if you're hitting body. And then your pistols. So best pistol all around is going to be the Strider because it has the long range, fast time to kill, and the fastest up close, although the mid in this 5 to 10 meter range is not the best, but it's still within 50 milliseconds. So that's probably going to be your best bet. Grakova is decent out to 10 meters and it's terrible beyond that. GS45 is not that great within 5 meters, but it's really good compared to the other ones within 5 to 10 meters, but then it's terrible at long range. So not a good choice there. 9mm, decent up close, out to 5 meters, but then it's pretty bad at long range. So I would say Strider 22 is going to be your best bet for Warzone. But yeah, that's all the time to kill for Warzone. I don't have the shotguns in there because I didn't bother putting that all together. I might add those in the future, and I will update multiplayer with the new guns as well. So the Krieg assault rifle and the SAUG SMG as soon as those stats become available. But I don't have the game. I don't have Black Ops 6, so I can't just go in and get the stats. I have to wait for people to put it out there. So it's going to be a little bit slower this year getting the stats together, but I do try to keep these stats updated and current as soon as possible. So, but yeah, always a work in progress, always updating with new information, but I'm not always doing new videos unless it's like a new season or if they did massive weapon adjustments. So like they did do a lot of weapon changes to multiplayer like a week or 2 into the game, but I didn't do a new video because it didn't really change too much other than the AS Val. They killed the AS Val at mid-range, So it used to be really good out to like 45, 50 meters, but they cut that range basically in half. So that was the only one that they really hurt or buffed significantly that made a big difference. But I didn't do a video, but I did update the chart. So yeah, always updating the chart, always keeping it up to date. So I'll leave a link in the description to this spreadsheet, so you can keep track of the updates as well if there's not a new video. So like I said, I only do new videos like every season, or if they do significant weapon changes. But yeah, just helps me to put these charts together. That way I have an idea how certain weapons perform, or if I'm using a certain weapon, how to get the most out of it, to change my play style to make sure I'm getting the best use of that gun. But yeah, let me know down in the comments if this type of chart helps you out, if there's anything in this chart that you think would add to it. So if anything missing from this chart that you think would add to it, that would be worth putting the time into putting it together. But yeah, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.